Hello and good morning, pura vida from San Isidro General. Beautiful sunny morning with the clouds coming in my Airbnb. And this is a big video, guys. Very excited. I don't exactly know where it's going to lead, but that's also what this video is about, in part, is releasing expectations and truly being in your present moment, leading with the heart, sharing, expressing yourself, and how that has changed my life this week in a dramatic way and for the remaining future. So 2 years ago next week, I got on a plane to Anchorage, Alaska with my bicycle to bike to Argentina. That was the plan, and I'm 2 years in. I've biked 14,000 miles. I have traversed 9 countries, 7 with Maggie, and the point of this trip was really 3 things. One, middle finger for you guys this morning. Let's use this finger instead. One is to bike from Alaska to Argentina, from North America to the tip of South America. 2 is to look for the place where I will move after this trip. You guys know I've been saying that this entire trip, making sure we're still recording. Hello, Maggie. You want to say hello? Hello, Miss Maggie. So of course, look for a place to build my future home, vegan, fruit farm, yoga, art studio, retreat center. I've been telling you guys that the entire time. So I'm looking for the place for when I was finished for the trip to move here and buy land and be able to have relationships and hopefully find a girlfriend and have a family, things that are really impossible when you live alone on a bicycle moving from little village to city every single day. And then the third thing was to just enjoy myself and get to know the world and have stress-free experiences and get out of the matrix of the conventional wisdom, traditional American city lifestyle of you get this job and you have stresses and responsibilities, et cetera, et cetera. I thought that was bullshit because it never resonated with me. It didn't make me happy, so I needed to prove to myself that with some planning and hard work, like over 1,000 YouTube videos and 2,000 Instagram posts and hundreds of podcasts that I've done in order to create this little business that I've lived off since graduating college. This trip was designed to do that as well, to break down the barriers that had been set up in my life growing up in a community and culture that is very privileged and very, you could say, traditional in a way, growing up in Los Angeles in a family that likes to travel, but not in the way that I like to travel, and sort of accepts certain things in life. Like, you go to college, and then you get a job, then you get a family, then you work really hard, and don't be crazy, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, nah, that's bullshit, but I was trapped in it because that's how I was raised, so I needed to prove to myself that no, this life is whatever you feel like it is, and if you work hard enough and keep yourself safe and successful, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And about 6 months ago, my energy and how I felt about this trip of traveling alone changed. The first 18 months of the ride, when I would come into, wow, beautiful bird just went by. Holy shit. A few months ago, or let's say a year ago, when I was a year into this trip, biking all day up hard mountains, maybe a little bit wet, with dogs barking at me, and then sleeping in a abandoned building in a small village and meeting some locals, that was the most rich and amazing thing for me because I didn't grow up doing that kind of stuff. None of my friends think you can even do that stuff. They just think like you'll die if you try to do that. Sleep in an abandoned building in El Salvador and meet locals and drink beers with them and just like be alone on a bicycle. That's crazy. And it really served me to have those experiences because they were wild and crazy, and they also built so much confidence in me because I proved to myself that I can do it safely. again, breaking down the hype and the barriers of how I was raised. And those days really excited me. They provided me with a service. They served me. They're making me better. I enjoyed it. And I've been doing this 2 years, guys. Almost 700 days in. No, more than 700 days in. I'm like 750 days in. And about 6 months ago, the way I felt about the certain difficulties about this lifestyle started to be less like exciting obstacles and more obstacles that I was really, that I keep seeing over and over again. And it just started to get a little bit less romantic, let's say. Sleeping in the tropics in my sweaty tent in a little village. Like, I've done that a million times, and it's hard to do that. It's not as comfortable, and I am an introverted homebody person. I know that might sound crazy because I'm a crazy traveler, but in the way that I love to travel, I also really, really love to be in a quiet place in nature with my own little house right there, growing fruit trees, no one around to bother me, not having to find places to sleep every night, and making art and having relationships and living a very calm, rooted in the earth, sustainable lifestyle, and cooking and having a routine. All of that I love as well. And about 6 months ago, I came to the conclusion that I kind of want to finish this trip quick, because the first year and a half of the trip, I moved crazy slow. Remember, I was in Mexico 10 months because I was just like, I want to see it all. I'm loving this present moment. But about 6 months ago, I started to realize that I was more excited and my heart was more interested in this next chapter of life of buying land, building a fruit farm, retreat center, etc., than I was excited about continuing to travel like a savage like I do. So my plan about 6 months ago, as I was talking to my friends and family, was like, all right, guys, I'm going to move a bit faster because I made this decision to bike to Argentina. I can't go back on that. And I'm just going to kind of breeze through South America and do it like way faster than I did North and Central America. And I thought that was a good plan so that I could finish the trip, but also start my next chapter sooner rather than, like finish from here to Argentina in maybe 7 months instead of like a year and a half, which is how long it would take if I was truly like enjoying myself and not rushing and taking my time. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to rush it so that I can finish. And actually extremely recently, that was the plan up until I got to this city of San Isidro. 40 minutes from the beach, up a mountain, 2,000 feet up in elevation in the Diamante Valley, known for having some of the richest soils on planet Earth to grow fruits and vegetables. And I've met amazing people here. I'm so connected to the land, and it hit me like a ton of bricks for the first time this entire trip that this is where I'm gonna live. This is where I'm gonna build this vision. I found it. And I found myself going to bed like the second night I was here, and for the first time in 2 years, I entertained the idea of releasing my ego, which says I have to bike to Tierra del Fuego, southern Argentina, no matter what. Even if I'm not enjoying it as much, I have to do it. I surrendered that idea for the first time and just entertained the thought of, what if you stayed here, Jackson? What if you paused your bike trip? Maybe you bike from here to Argentina with a family in 5 or 10 years, or a girlfriend or a wife. And what if you started what you really want to do now? Instead of rushing South America, an amazing part of the world to visit, why would you rush that if you don't want to do it alone anymore? Just to say you did it. And I swallowed my ego, and I realized, and I allowed my heart to really communicate and surface, and it became abundantly clear as day. Not even like, I made this decision in about 30 minutes of entertaining the idea that it's time to shut down the bike tour. I'm finished. I'm no longer biking, guys, and I'm moving here to San Isidro, or in the mountains surrounding it. Probably not in the city. This is a legit city. I think there's about 50,000 people. There's a Pizza Hut, there's one McDonald's, there's big grocery stores, there's cafes, there's organic shops, there's everything. It's like a small, big city, but there are all these little lots and communities within dirt roads in the mountains where people buy land and grow some of the greatest fruit in the world. And I'm gonna go fulfill that vision now. So let me tell you the plan, and then I want to get into even some more reasons in this video. I'll keep it long. This is an important video. This is a big change for me. So here's the plan, and then I'm going to give you more reasons why I decided to make this plan in addition to the reasons that I gave you. But it is currently like August 18th, and on August 30th, in 12 days, Maggie and I will be flying home where I grew up, to Los Angeles, California, to visit my friends and family. I have best friends out there, and I got to see them. Maybe I'll get on some podcasts, which would be cool. But we're going to fly home and see friends and family for the whole month of September. My cousin is also getting married, which I was planning on not going to because I was on this trip, but it's pretty cool that I can go to her wedding now. And I'll enjoy United States life for a month. I haven't been in the United States in about 400 or 500 days. It's going to be weird as shit. A year and a half I have not set foot in the United States. And I'm going to go enjoy that for the month of September. And then, and this is just the tentative plan, guys. Of course, the whole point of this video is that it's not about listening to the narrative and the story that you create in your head and sticking to that narrative, even if it's not serving you anymore. Life is about being in the present moment and doing what makes sense. So this is just the plan, but of course it could evolve time-wise. And then the month of October, I plan on maybe buying like a used pickup truck in the States and getting a friend or two to drive with me. Probably take about 2 weeks to drive back here to Costa Rica. The next 12 days that I'm still here before flying home, I am going to be looking at land. I've already talked to real estate agents who own land properties, and I'm gonna be seeing properties this next 2 weeks, which just makes me so excited. Like I can't even describe it. And then once I have a pretty good idea that this truly is the place, and I find lots of land that is within my budget and can fulfill my vision of having a yoga vegan retreat center and also just a home for myself and an amazing fruit farm, I'll then come back in mid-October with a truck, and Maggie and I will purchase land for real, and we will begin building on it. I want to have a home. I want to have a yoga studio. I want to have an art studio. I want to have greenhouses, massive fruit tree orchards, cabins to maybe rent as Airbnbs or when I host retreats or festivals on my land. I'm going to build a freaking compound, guys. I'm for real. And I've always talked, I'm sure there's going to be questions. How are you going to afford all this? One, it's extremely cheaper down here than the lifestyle in the United States. To give you an idea, property tax, I believe in the States, is like 2% per year to the government of whatever your property or mortgage or home costs you have to give back to the government. Here it's like 0.02 or something. Literally, you have to pay if you have like a $200,000 property, which is a lot down here. You can get a lot for that. You pay the government about $150 or $200 a year in property taxes. I plan on being 100% off-grid, meaning solar and local water, meaning I'll have no bills to the city of wherever for my electricity or anything like that. and I'm gonna grow all my own food. So the living expenses on my land will be very, 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 very low once I have it up and running. And I've talked about this so much in my YouTube channel. I'm not ashamed of this. It's just the amazing, lucky situation that I was born into. But I come from a very privileged, supportive family, and my parents, my entire life since I was born, have been building a fund for each of me and my brothers for when we want to make this massive settled down investment in our life in order to help us make that vision. So in addition to all of the money that I've made over the last few years on YouTube and investing it in cryptocurrencies in the stock market, and from help from my parents, which of course I can repay them over the years once my business and career on my land is fruitful financially. But they have a large investment that they are willing to support me in starting and accomplishing this vision. So I can do it, and I'm doing it, and I'm gonna do it. Maggie, I'm trying to film a video. Maggie. Please, Maggie, it's just people walking by. Thank you for guarding. I love you so much. Get your ball. You're a very good girl. Thank you for protecting us. Are you going to protect us on the farm? If people come in, are you going to go, get out of here? You have to for me, okay? I love you. So yeah, that's that question out of the way. How am I going to finance it from my own money and help from my parents? And where else was I going? So the schedule. So I'll get here back in mid-October. I will purchase and find my final land, maybe the last 2 weeks of October. And then November and December, when the rainy season starts to end and it becomes the dry season for the next 6 months, I will begin building. And I haven't fully decided how that's gonna work. I kind of have two options. The first option is more of the DIY and hands-on option. I have a couple friends in the States who are pretty accomplished contractors or plumbers and have been doing construction for like 10 plus years. And so there's kind of one, and are into sustainability and off-grid sustainable living. So one option is to get one of my friends to be like the lead architect and contractor of the whole project, and then to get like 10 of you, honestly, anyone watching or some of my close friends back home, to come with me for anything, any amount of time you want, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, but get like a crew of 5 or 10 friends plus my friend who's like an accomplished builder to build this stuff with our own hands and do a really good job of doing it. I'll either take that route if that is what flows, or if that feels like it's not going to happen and I can't really find friends who want to pause their life in November or December to come and help me for a few months, then I'll do it a more formal route and just hire people here who build. And, you know, it is obviously much cheaper than back in the States, and I will do it that way, and I'll probably be a bit less hands-on in building it myself. Some parts of it, like the big house parts of it, little things I can do myself. But yeah, so those are kind of the two options. My guess is it will take anywhere from 6 to 10 months to build enough structures of my home and the art studio and everything until it's like kind of an up and running functional place. And then once it is, let's just say a year from October, November. So like 2020, like October of 2020, I will start to host retreats on the land, festivals. I want to have like the Woodstock Fruit Festival, but like a bit more adult and less rules. Maybe some plant medicine involved, but not like for everyone. Just like, you know, Woodstock's amazing, but, you know, there's a lot of rules that you can't break, and it's very family friendly. And I want my festivals to be family friendly too, but just kind of way more free and open, hippie vibes instead of like rules. It's just, I'm not as much of a rule guy in that way. So I want to have like an annual festival where you can come and live on my land, and we're going to do yoga, and we're going to chill and eat my fruit and meditate and sing and be happy in a little utopia in the mountains. And I also want to have more structured retreats where it's like 10 to 20 people, super intentional, like different focus retreats, eating disorder recovery retreats, manifest your future dream retreats, weight loss retreats, all kinds of things. And I want to start it up as soon as I can, because I hosted this retreat, as you saw in the vlog, a few weeks ago, and it was the most meaningful thing I've freaking ever done in my life. Seriously. Bringing community together, facilitating heart-opening experiences for people to feel themselves and release tension and trauma, and also just have a damn good time and eat the healthiest food and meditate together. It was the most meaningful thing in the world to me, and it's going to be even more meaningful when I'm doing it on my land. Wow. So that's what's happening. And now let me tell you a few more reasons why the bike life has just worn down on me and I'm not as excited about it anymore. In addition to what I told, well, there's kind of a few major tenets. One, loneliness. That is the number one. I am so lonely. Even though I'm always biking in Little Village and locals are talking to me and I speak almost perfect Spanish now so I can communicate and I'm talking to people throughout the day, it's always the same surface level conversation because these aren't people who know me. So every day I'm just saying, hi, I'm Jackson. I biked from Alaska to here. Yes, it's crazy. With my dog. I'm vegan. Bye. That's it. Most of the time. And I haven't been able to have those deep connections and relationships because I've been a nomad alone on the road going from town to town, and I'm lonely as shit. And I need a girlfriend and I want to build a family like soon. It's what I'm excited about, and I can't do that when I'm biking alone. That's the biggest reason why my heart's not in it anymore. Next is things like dogs. I don't mean Maggie. I love my Maggie the most, but you guys don't understand what it feels like where every single biking day, no matter what country I'm in, as I'm enjoying myself biking and feeling the vibes, in an instant, maybe sometimes 10 or 20 times a day, a street dog or someone's dog who's just sitting in their front yard in a small village will come out and jump at us and bite at Maggie and bite at me and attack us. Maggie has gotten bit, never to the point where it's dangerous, but dog attacks have, like, there are some days where I've lost my voice in a biking day from screaming at 10, 20, 30 dogs in a day that come out and run at us, and I hate it. It drives me crazy. And I hate it for Maggie too, because she does not like it. Next is, let's talk about Maggie. Maggie's a homebody as well. She's a savage. She likes to run around all day and swim and everything, but she loves knowing her place and having a stable place that she can call home and know, and having her spots. And in the same way that I'm kind of a homebody, she is as well. And we've been doing this 1.5 years together, Maggie and I, over 1.5 years together. And it's time for her too, to have a home in a stable place. And I want that for her because I know she prefers that. Next is the safety aspect. For the first 1.5 years of the trip, I don't even ride with a helmet. I bomb down hills in the rain. I'm confident that cars aren't going to hit me just because I've had a pretty good track record of them not hitting me. But in the last 6 months, maybe it's a product of just the probability that if you do something more and more times, there's a higher likelihood of anything happening. Plus just getting older and probably being a bit more conservative in terms of my safety. I've been paranoid the last 6 months more than the first 18 months of the trip, that one day I have to get hit by a car. One day I have to be bombing down a hill with no helmet at 30 miles an hour and just fucking crash and destroy myself. One day a car is gonna clip the trailer with Maggie in it. And that's been wearing me the fuck down. And I don't like to live stressed. That's not my vibe. That's not what I'm about. And I've been a bit stressed about the safety of this trip, about getting robbed, about all that stuff. And even though that's not like the main thing that's making me make this decision to shut down the bike life, but it's an aspect of it. I'm done worrying about that stuff. It doesn't feel good. It's been a part of me for a long time, and I want some more safety. Next is the physical aspect. Can you guys imagine what my spine and lower back and just my whole body feels like after lugging around a 100-pound bicycle with my dog on rugged roads for the last 2 years? I've gone 14 or 15,000 miles, and my body feels good. I don't have any injuries right now. I'm feeling good, but it's gonna feel a lot better when I don't have to live on a bicycle and be moving in really awkward ways and be hunched over. And I'm ready to heal my body even more. What other aspects of the bike life do I not like? Cooking. You know, I've lived without a blender and a Vitamix. Oh, I'm gonna get into some more serious stuff in a second, I just remembered. But yeah, having a kitchen, having a fridge, truly having the foods that I really want at any moment, that's an aspect of it. It's been 2 years of eating, you know, peanut butter and tortillas and a banana and a soda sometimes if I'm in a remote place, and I'm also kind of sick of that. I'm not like sick of it, but I'm excited for the change to get to eat what I want all the time when I want. And here's the last aspect that I'll mention that is a serious part of it, and the most probably dramatic or emotional part of this video is that I struggle with addiction in some capacity. I've shared about this on my YouTube channel. It's not as bad as a lot of addicts, but it started out with my eating disorder and exercise addiction. And then when I kind of figured that stuff out, I started to abuse marijuana a bit, and I've made videos about being in Mexico a year ago and abusing marijuana to the point where I'm just smoking it too much that I stopped doing the things that make my life happy and productive, like meditating and yoga and eating healthy, and I get into this low vibe, gross, indulgent, drug-induced state that's the worst. But it's happened a lot of times. I'll get into that state, and it usually happens because I'm like staying with a local who kind of lives in that state permanently, and I adapt to their lifestyle, and then I get in a rut for a week, and then I come back out. That's why my addiction behavior is weird, because I've never like lost control for longer than like a month without being able to regain my healthy high vibe energy. But I can't tell you how many times it's gone like this, and every uphill I say to myself, okay, you'll never go back down again, Jackson. Don't do it. You don't like it. Don't drink 6 beers in a night. Don't smoke a bunch of joints and eat junk food that makes you feel like fucking shit. But it's literally every time I'm back up, I go back down at some point, whether it's in a week or a month or 2 months. And the reason is because it's a coping mechanism for the fact that of everything I just told you. I'm lonely. I'm kind of done with this travel life. I want to change. And so I've been biking because of my ego for the last kind of 6 months, and thus getting into some habits that are bad because I'm trying to cope with the fact that I'm still biking alone. And I shouldn't do that anymore. I gotta live for what my heart wants and what allows me to be the best version of myself. And I know that I can stay on an upward high vibe path if I'm truly doing the things that I want to do in my life and not go back into these gross indulgent ruts that the bike life, for me, it's a product of it as a coping mechanism. So those are many of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm so excited to one day share my land with you guys and for you to come and eat the fruits and live with me and visit. It's really special time in my life, and if you are interested in helping me with any of these visions, I am willing to pay for people's rent and food if you want to come for a month and hands-on help me build my land. We're going to need a lot of hands with shovels and planting trees and building gardens and stuff like that. So if you want from the months of this coming November for the next 6 months to a year to come with a helping hand, DM me on Instagram. And like the first thing you say, be like in all capitals, like, I want to help on your land. Only if you're serious, please. Only if you're serious about flying. I'm not gonna pay for your flights. You gotta fly here, and then I'll pay for your food and rent while you're here helping out. So let me know, DM me my patriotic DMs, and we'll talk about it. Let me know what you guys think. It is so important to surrender the ego and listen to your heart, and that's what I've decided to do. It feels fucking crazy because I've lived like this for 2 years that I now can be more stable, but I'm very excited about it. So much love, Dream Extreme. Thank you for the support. And the journey continues. It's going to be an exciting next 6 months here on YouTube and on Instagram. Peace.